Welcome to episode 4 of The 6 Shifts with Egan Cunningham, Jan Burkins, and Kari Yates, co-authors of Shifting the Balance, 6 Ways to Bring the Science of Reading into the Upper Elementary Classroom, published by Stenhouse Publishers. In this series, Katie, Jan, and Kari, along with the 6 Shifts Maggie Thorson, address 6 new evidence-based shifts that teachers can make to bring the science of reading into the upper elementary classroom. Our previous episode focused on how knowledge impacts reading comprehension. In today's episode, the authors talk about the third new shift, recommitting to vocabulary instruction.
Welcome back. We have been working our way through all of the 6 new shifts in the newest Shifting the Balance book. And today we're going to explore shift 3, recommitting to vocabulary instruction. But before we do that, I want to dig into this idea of vulnerability. It's no secret, ladies, that making shifts to practices we've held close is not easy. Why should educators want to dig into a book like this when they have so much else on their plates?
It's truly a great question. And for us, I think this work is driven by the fact that despite our collective best efforts, there are still just way too many children for whom learning to read has been way too hard. And the truth is that many of our current practices simply don't serve kids as well as we might have hoped, because these practices, they turn out to be not as brain-friendly as we once believed.
And we know that there's a whole lot of research about science-aligned literacy practices that just simply hasn't yet been enacted in enough classrooms. And some of this research is more recent, and some has been around for a long time. But either way, the exciting news is that this is actually, believe it or not, a really great time to be a literacy educator, because we have the opportunity to unlock literacy for more children than ever before and with less struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the sciencey work, as you have said before. It's the head and heart work as well. So now let's dig into this shift 3 and explore the role of vocabulary and comprehension. It seems to be such a source of chicken and egg confusion in reading instruction. How do these two overlap in the reading process, and how do vocabulary and comprehension support one another?
Well, in a nutshell, research shows that having a strong vocabulary, it really fuels comprehension, and vice versa is also true. So if you have strong comprehension, it actually helps children acquire more vocabulary. So that's that chicken and egg that you were getting at in the question. And in fact, vocabulary can account for as much as 80% of a child's success on reading comprehension measures, which is really huge.
Wow, it is. And so if you don't know the meaning of enough words, you will come up short in comprehending what you're reading. And if you don't comprehend a lot of what you're reading, you'll miss these important opportunities to learn even more words and their meanings through context. So yes, chicken or egg definitely has a place in the conversation about vocabulary and comprehension, especially in the intermediate grades where the content of texts is just becoming increasingly complex.
Absolutely. And so that helps us think about, in this 3 through 5 book, you devote a full chapter to vocabulary. What is it about vocabulary instruction that we might be missing or misunderstanding? And why is it especially important for the upper elementary reader in particular?
Well, Maggie, it seems there have been a number of misunderstandings about vocabulary instruction out there, and many of them are sort of connected or overlapping. But one that we really wanted to highlight is misunderstanding number 2 in the book, which reads, I don't really need to teach vocabulary if students get lots of interaction with great books. And of course, if you know us, then we're huge advocates for beautiful books and the interactive text experiences that kids have. And, studies of words in print show that written language, say in picture books, informational texts, or even newspapers, are typically sources of much, much richer vocabulary than our spoken language. Even the most sophisticated of conversations between philosophy professors, right? That the books that children hold in their hand can have more sophisticated words. So great books are an important source of vocabulary growth, but they're simply not enough. And we need to layer on more intentionality than maybe we have in the past by simply depending on great books.
Mm-hmm. In fact, research shows that we can't rely too heavily on any one instructional method for vocabulary instruction. So instead, we need to provide a mix of experiences that support both implicit and explicit word learning. And that may make you nervous to hear us say that. Many of us have been leery of the idea of explicit vocabulary instruction because we've seen or even experienced some pretty ineffective, dreary vocabulary instruction. And so in Misunderstanding 3, we work to untangle this idea that explicit vocabulary instruction simply means that children will memorize definitions and write sentences with the word,
Pass
or
a test.
heaven forbid, look them up. Yeah, pass a test or look them up in a dictionary. We all probably have some scars, right? We're a little traumatized from our own days in elementary school looking up long lists of words.
Guide words.
And eventually, guide words. Finding a dictionary definition with a bunch more words we don't understand in it, so we can't understand the definition or the word. So this shift is all about what makes vocabulary instruction work or not work for students.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's so powerful the way you address these misunderstandings and unpack them for readers. I know it's one of the pieces that we hear from teachers often that's so powerful from both the first Shifting the Balance book and it sounds like carrying over to the new one as well. So as a result of reading chapter 3 or shift 3, what are you hoping that teachers will be positioned to do?
So I think by unpacking those 5 key misunderstandings that we zero in on in this chapter about vocabulary instruction, and then digging into some really high leverage routines again, we hope that teachers will be positioned for more intentional, more brain friendly, more kid friendly, just more effective vocabulary instruction, because we know that vocabulary knowledge actually impacts every aspect of a child's life.
So true. And I think we also hope that by making vocabulary instruction more brain friendly, that teachers will find vocabulary easier to teach and children will find it easier to learn. And that their vocabulary instruction, that ultimately what it does is open up new dimensions for language comprehension to happen. And that not only expands students' reading comprehension, but it has this kind of ripple effect of positive benefits in all areas of a child's life, which was what we're really doing as teachers, is thinking about the whole child.
Thank you for sitting down with me again today, ladies. Always a pleasure. And I look forward to our next conversation about Shift 4.
Shifting the Balance: 6 Ways to Bring the Science of Reading into the Upper Elementary Classroom by Kari Egan Cunningham, Jan Burkins, and Kari Yates is available from Stenhouse Publishers. You can learn more about these 6 new shifts, the 6 shifts from the first book, and the companion online classes for both books at www.the6shifts.com. We hope you enjoyed listening. In the next episode, we'll explore Shift 4, which is about the role of word reading instruction in the upper elementary grades. Wondering if phonics instruction should be part of your instruction in grades 3 to 5? Then you'll want to listen in to the next podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback. Get in touch with us at marketing@stenhouse.com, and please share this with your colleagues who you think would enjoy listening too. Thanks for listening.